What's up, folks? We are at Pandan again, but I have something special for you guys today. So here's what we're going to do today. What I have with me right here, right, first time seen on camera, is a $150 thereabouts BFS setup. Okay, I don't really need to talk much about the rod because it's a pretty legendary rod locally in itself, the Kuying Teton. But the real special deal here is this reel. Okay, this is a $75 reel that is supposedly BFS capable. For those of you who are not familiar with the term, BFS stands for Bait Finesse System, otherwise known as ultralight bait casting setups, meaning bait casting setups that are light enough with a reel capable of casting lures that are generally in the weight range that most folks would throw on spinning tackle, which means stuff below 5 grams, 2 to 5 gram stuff. BFS has been steadily getting more and more popular over the last year or two. It's just, I guess most folks just find it more fun to use bait casting setups over spinning. I mean, we can get into a whole debate on the pros and cons here, but it'll just pretty much be a Mac versus PC argument. So let's just not get into that. But it would seem that BFS is getting really popular, and the one downside about BFS that I've mentioned quite a few times in my videos is the price, the cost of BFS tackle, mainly in particular BFS Reels. BFS Reels, because of the specialized shallow, ultralight shallow spool and all that is required to cast all these light lures on bait casting tackle, the price of these things, you're not good. One of the cheapest BFS reels out there probably would run you about 250 to 300 Singapore dollars, and that's really expensive for someone who is just looking to get into a genre, any given genre, So I think that it's really interesting, and I wouldn't say I'm making it my mission, but I want to explore budget or cheaper alternatives for any given angler to try to get into the genre of bait finesse fishing. So anyway, this is the first time I'm actually bringing... No, I didn't just get this set up. I have had it for a few weeks, but this is the first time I've brought it out with me. This is the first session I've had it on the water, so I actually have not tested this setup at all. The reel is the Surinoya Whirlwind XF50L. Okay, it's a out of the box, alleged out of the box BFS reel. Why I say alleged is because, or alleged, however you want to pronounce it, is because I haven't tested it out yet. I've gotten a couple of casts in, but nothing conclusive. It has a shallow spool. It claims to be able to cast lures down to 2.5, 3 grams. I've seen videos of folks casting light stuff on this, but having not tested it myself, I'm using the word alleged, right? So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing today. I'm going to go through my entire box of micro lures. Well, I've got no hands. You'll see it on the way. And what I've also done is I've taken pictures of the exact weights on a scale of almost every single lure in my soft plastic box and my micro hard body box. And those are the lures I'm going to use today, just to see how a $150 combo, meaning rod plus reel, how does it hold up for casting micro lures versus the $300, $400, $500, $600, $700 combos that any other BFS user would otherwise have to purchase. So anyway, I'm going to get set up. I'm going to turn on the GoPro and stuff like that, and I'll catch you guys on the water in a bit. Alright, so if you guys watched my last video, you'd know that the last time I came here, I got reined in, and I caught that one fish, and then I got reined in shortly after that. And you could say today's session is also a revenge session of sorts, and it will be really fitting to be able to hit some fish on this setup. I mean, look at that. This reel is, I mean, honestly, jokes aside, brand aside, it looks really good, don't you think? You know, I'll probably include the a more in-depth analysis during, if I ever do a review, an actual review of this reel. So let's see, what should I start off first today? I think I'll start off with you know what, let's work with something that we know works right now. I hit a fish on the Halco Sorcerer, the 35 FLT. This is a 3 gram, I think a 3.1 gram lure. Alright, let's see if we can get anything on this, and then we'll slowly switch it up. And the goal today is to cycle through almost my entire lure box. The lures in my box generally range from about 2 grams to just under 5 grams. So, you know, we'll be cycling through all of them, soft plastics included, with my twin tail grub and all of that stuff. So we'll see. Alright, so basic settings that I have it at right out of the box would be just turning the spool tension knob until the spool does not shake. You know, a few of you have asked, how do you set up a reel for casting ultralight lures? You pretty much set it up the exact same way you would set up a reel, a normal BC reel. You set the spool tension so that the spool doesn't shake. If there's no wind, you don't really have to touch it after that. You know, if there's a bit of wind, you might want to turn the spool tension up. But now, as you can see, it's glassy, calm, there's nothing. So spool tension just enough to stop the spool from shaking. Alright, I have the brake set to 3. Now I'll mess around with that as we go and tune that according to the needs, but I have it at 3 at the moment. There's 0 to 10. So yeah, let's get right to it. Alright, Bihun right out the box. Okay, so what this tells me is the brake setting is way too low. Alright, so I'm gonna have to turn that up, way up. Alright, so I have the brake set to 5. Alright, that definitely cut down the initial Bihun. Alright, so I'm thinking 6 or 7 might be the sweet spot here. Alright, 6 or 7, let's see. Let's go with 7. There we go. No Bihun at all, or backlash for you more English inclined folks. Alright, so I have it set at 7. Oh, look at that distance. That's pretty damn decent. Now just keep in mind, guys, this is a Halco Sorcerer. For those of you who are familiar, this is not the smallest lure. It is a small lure, don't get me wrong. It's not the smallest one. And for this size, you know, it's 35, so it's 3.5 centimeters plus the lip that is about 1.5. So this is about a 5 centimeter lure. Alright, it's 3.1 grams if I'm not wrong. I have taken all the weight, so there'll probably be a picture that pops up somewhere here or here showing the actual weight of the lure. So a 3 gram, essentially a 3 gram lure in this size is actually pretty hard to cast in any bait casting setup. Even on my $400 or $500 setups, it is still a slight challenge to cast. The wind's starting to pick up, so this is actually a pretty good real world test of this reel. You know, I could have brought it to some grass patch nearer to where I live or nearer to my workplace to test out the casting of this setup, but I wanted it to be a bit more realistic. You know, just go out, bring only one setup, bring just this setup and use only this setup and see how it really works. So that way you get my my true genuine reactions to the setup, whether I'm happy with it, whether it works or not. Now, it's very important for me to state this reel was not given to me by anyone. I bought this reel, $75, I paid for it. It was not sponsored. If it was, I would state it, so in case some of you are concerned about that. Alright, so the Halco Sorcerer is a mid diver. That means it dives to about about half to 1 meter. Alright, so what I'm doing is I'm slow rolling it. Alright, bouncing it off the rocks as I usually do with my mid-divers in Pandan. That was a really good cast. Now right off the bat, I will say, alright folks, I gotta be perfectly honest with you. Okay, my heavily modified Core 51 MG7, you know, my Abu Garcia LT Z AE74, my expensive reels, they do cast better. They definitely do. I'm not in denial here. I'm not trying to promote this reel. They do cast this lure better. But for a reel that costs easily 3, 4, 5 times the amount, does it cast it 3, 4, 5 times better? Hell no. You know, I can still cast this lure perfectly fine on this reel. You know, it might take a slightly more educated thumb. As you can see, slightly higher break setting, but distance wise, 3 stars so far. The reel actually can manage this lure, 3 stars so far. Alright, if I have any problems, you guys will see it in this video. I'm going to try to capture it as accurately as I can. Another thing I'm happy about so far is it seems like the brake settings actually make a difference. You know, some of these cheaper reels, and not even the cheaper reels, even some of the more expensive branded ones, right? Changing the brake setting from say 4 to 5 or 5 to 6, you barely notice a difference, and this is almost always the case when it comes to magnetic brakes, which is why I don't like using magnetic brakes, you know. But this one, every click seems to make a huge difference, and I'm really liking that right off the bat. It must have been a pretty bad snag. My leader was fraying all the way up, a good like this far up the line, so yeah, that lure was stuck in there deep. Well, I suppose it's a good opportunity for me to use something else, switch to something else. You know what? Let's just take this opportunity to go for top water, shall we? Alright, so this is a Jacko chubby pencil, also another big 3.5 gram lure. Now here's a tip when you're working top waters in a place like Pandan, what I call a heavy traffic area. If you get an opportunity like a day like today, where it's glassy, calm, no wind, basically prime top water conditions, not many anglers, you always want to make sure that there is no one in front of you disturbing. You know, if there's an angler in front of you, there's no point throwing a top water, because that guy probably already went in there and scared all the fish off. So if you can see right now, we're completely clear all the way down, so at least you know that no one's been in front of you recently stirring up all that stuff, spooking the fish and whatnot. So working top waters in Pandan, very simple. You're going right as close to the bank as you can, but just take note of the weed line. There's some weeds growing out here and there. Alright, you just want to work that top water just outside the weed line. This is definitely wind picking up. As you can see, it's no longer glassy, calm. So I might just stop this top water stuff after a few more tries. Now, another thing about working, oh gosh guys, did you see that? Oh my lord. Oh my goodness, that was probably a 60 cm fish. Guys, what do? I only have small lures today. What do I do? Should I throw a Halco sorcerer? That's definitely a spawning pair. He was chasing a zebra tilapia away. Oh, heart's pounding, heart's pounding. Alright, cast across. Big PB like that. probably somewhere a bit further out. What did I just hook? Okay. Let me throw something that'll irritate them. Normally throwing a rattle trap like this would be something I would avoid doing, but educated guess, that fish was big enough to not be spooked. I'm not giving up, guys. I'm not giving up on that one fish. Oh gosh, that fish was huge, guys. I don't know if I don't have my lens polarizer on today. I don't know if the camera captured that. Oh, damn, heart pounding how big that fish was. Let's try a bucktail. Maybe it's a bit further out. That could have been a personal best in Pandan for me, judging by the size of that fish. It could be. If it breaks 60 centimeters, that'll be my personal best. Alright folks, well, it certainly looks like, I mean, I spent what, 30 minutes just throwing everything I could at that spot, and that's maybe that 20-meter stretch where I saw that huge PB. Pretty sure he's still there. It's just, you know, I don't have anything big enough. I guess the super fluke was big enough, I don't know, but yeah, I couldn't get him to bite. But the good thing about that is, I'm sure as you guys must have seen, that gave me the opportunity to test a whole bunch of lures from that hard body box all in one spot. So seeing as how the point of today's video was to test the setup, I guess that kind of lined up pretty well with my plans. So right now I'm throwing a backing minnow, or it's pretty much the same thing as the original. Now just to point it out, the Trulinoya backing minnow is a copy. It's a copy of the Duo Toto 42S. It's ever so slightly heavier. I think that, okay, the Duo Toto 42S, if I'm not wrong, is 2.8 grams. The backing minnow is probably 2.8, 2.9, maybe just under 3 grams. So it's definitely a sub 3 gram lure. And as you can see, I'm casting into the wind. If you look at the water, the ripples, the wind is blowing towards me. I am casting dead into the wind, getting good distance, no issues whatsoever with this reel. I am thoroughly impressed thus far. This right here, guys, is a 75 Singapore dollar reel, inclusive of shipping. $75 from Aliexpress. The brand is Surinoya. And of course, if you guys missed it earlier, the rod I'm using it with is the Kuying Teton. I shouldn't really need to talk too much about this rod. It's pretty legendary in Singapore in terms of budget rods, budget BFS class rods. Very good rod. You can check them out on Carousel. I'll put a few links. I'll put links to all of these things in the description below. Now just keep in mind, this is my first session on the water with this reel. It's certainly not my first session with this rod. This rod is already tried, tested and proven time and time again, but it's my first session with this reel. So I don't want you guys to mistake this as a review of the reel. If anything, this is a first impressions video, or a more hardcore first impressions video, rather than just simply, you know, unboxing it and telling you what I think. This is actually on the water, first impressions, and color me very impressed so far. Change up. Let me finish up whatever is in this box so that I can move on to my soft plastics. Alright, let's go with a Strike Pro Cranky 40. This is also another 3 gram something lure. It's a crankbait. It's a little teeny itty bitty crankbait. It's a really cute crankbait, so yeah, one of the better and cheaper options for micro crankbaits. For those of you who are interested in a micro crankbait, action's pretty good, but as with most of the cheaper lures, they're not as good quality as the Japanese counterparts. So you know, you might have to, what do you call, true the lure. You might have to tweak it and tune the lure from time to time just to get it to swim straight. So just keep that in mind, guys. Alright, I might be pretty pro Aliexpress lures, but I'm certainly not foolish enough to say that the lures, 10 out of 10 lures work right out of the box. Alright, they are cheaper lures. Quality control is an issue, so you're gonna have to tune the lures from time to time. Some of them are not going to swim straight. You're just going to have to take a pliers and tune them a little bit, and you're fine. Alright, the Japanese lures, you pay like 10 times more, but quality control is there, you know. Handcrafted lures, they probably tank test every single lure, I don't know, right? But all the lures swim through right out of the box, so that's what you're paying 10 times more for, and my point is, to me, that's just not worth it. So yeah, this tiny little crankbait dives to about half a meter, so it's perfect for Pandan. Almost got hung up. See, that's the importance of using floating lure. So a lot of you guys have commented in my last few videos asking, you know, hey dude, how do you not get stuck in Pandan? You know, how do you not get stuck in Pandan? How do you seem to be able to bounce soft plastics and all that? As you can see from today's video, I do get stuck from time to time. But that's the importance of using floating lures, right? When you're talking about hard bodies, at least. You get hung up, you just go slack, and the lure kind of floats itself out of the crack. About 9 out of 10 times at least. Alright, what else haven't I tested? Okay guys, I'm not testing the pins minnow. In fact, let me just show you why I won't test the pins minnow. Okay? And this is why. This is why you pay $400 or $500 for a BFS Real. So if anyone is trying to justify paying so much more for a branded BFS Real, this is the reason right here. The pins minnow is a 2 to 2.2 gram lure. Okay, it's 2.2 gram lure. It's a long profile lure. There is no magnetic weight system in this lure. It is one of the hardest hard body lures to cast on a BFS setup because it catches wind really easily. It does not fly straight. It tumbles as it flies, so it's a nightmare to cast, and it requires a really expensive finely tuned BFS Reel to cast properly. So I was not going to test it, but hey, you know what? This is a video about this reel. Let's just test it and let's see what happens, right? See that? I had to set the brakes really high because I was afraid of getting a backlash. So I'm starting off with the brake setting at 8. Alright, there's no bird's nest so far. Okay, clearly this level 8 brake setting is heavily limiting the distance and affecting the flight of the lure. But I'm actually quite impressed. Actually, guys, I'm considering taking back what I said. I'm actually quite impressed that this can even get the lure that far. Alright, Good so far. Let's try to take it down to 7. Oh, there we go, there we go. It's working. It's working. Alright, I almost forgot. So excited that this reel can actually handle the pins minnow that I forgot that you're supposed to twitch the pins minnow. Okay, let's try one more time. Break setting 7. As you can see, 7. Alright. That was about maybe a 10-meter cast. Pretty impressive for a pins minnow. It's about the average distance I get even with my more expensive stuff. 10 to 15 meters at most for the pins minnow. The only way you're going to get it a bit further is if you use a spinning setup. Okay, let's try it at break setting 6. Okay. Oh, look at that! No backlash. Oh, look at that, guys. At least 12-13 meters right there. No backlash. This is incredible. I am seriously impressed right now. Oh my gosh, did you see that, guys? Did you see that right there? What is that? I think that's about where I saw the ripple. Right, just about midway. Okay, break setting 6. So I've got what? 5 casts? 5 beautiful casts on break setting 6. Let's go to 5 and let's see whether I can hit the limits of this reel. Okay, I felt a little bit of a backlash right there. I controlled it with my thumb. Okay, but it could be just a shitty cast. Let's try that again. Oh, look at that, guys. Whew, 15 meters right there probably. Yep, you see that? At 5, no issues. The minute I switch it to 4, the issues start. Now that's what I was kind of talking about earlier when I was saying what I liked about the fact that the break settings actually have a difference between each setting. You know, just from 4 to 5, you go from backlash to no backlash. I really like that about this reel. Almost a backlash there. So you see, I was right. 5, you're kind of teetering on the edge of risking a backlash in no wind conditions. So I'm guessing if there's wind, you're gonna have to go up to 7 or 8. So I'm gonna go up to 6 on the brakes, and that should be good. I am so impressed, guys, right now. I am so impressed. You know, and for those of you who think that, oh, I'm just kind of dramatizing, me being over dramatic about how good this reel is, you know, guys, I have 5 Bait Finesse reels. Alright, heavily modified, hundreds of dollars into bearings, into spools, you know. Okay, sure, I don't own any of the, you know, Scorpion BFS, Conquest BFS, and I don't own any of the Daiwa airs. But the BFS reels that I use are all tried and true, tested for BFS because they're so heavily modified. And I am able to cast the pins minnow with those reels, and all of them after modifications easily go up to about $300, $400, $500, $600 even total cost for the reel to get the real BFS ready. And can they cast the pins minnow? Yes. Do I have problems casting the pins minnow from time to time on those reels? Yes. Can this reel cast the pins minnow? As you can see, yes. Do I have occasional problems? Yes. So I hope you can understand, guys, why I'm so impressed. This is a $75 reel. I know I've repeated this a few times, but man, this is mind-boggling. Look at that. Wow, pins minnow, 2.2 gram jerkbait. Okay, the last lure I'm going to test is a metal jig. Alright, after this we're going to go soft plastics all the way. Okay, this metal jig is 3.3 grams. I'm sorry if I'm getting all the weights wrong, by the way. You know, just look at the pictures that I'm posting. Whenever I change lures, you'll see the exact weight of the lure. Alright, so metal jigs, anyone knows spoons jigs are very compact. They're the easiest to cast of all lures. So I'm not expecting, there you go, see, I'm not expecting to have any problems casting a metal jig on this, even though it's only 3 grams. Alright, let's try that again. Ooh, look at that. Alright, I think comfortable setting would be 6, and I'll just use it. I could just use a lot more casting force and propel it out there. Hey, look who's running towards me. That looks like the same guy that was running ahead of me in my last video. Alright, for those of you curious about the line I'm using, I actually bought this line from the same store on Aliexpress that I bought this reel. If I'm not wrong, the brand of the line is Marvelos or something. Anyway, it's not important. It's a 4-strand braid. It's PE 0.8 in terms of diameter. I think that puts it at 0.16 mm or something like that, and it's rated for 15 pounds. I won't be surprised, to be frank, I won't be surprised if it doesn't break at 15 pounds. If it breaks less than that at 10 or 12 pounds, I wouldn't be surprised. But that's not important because I don't need anything more than 10 pounds on a setup like this. So yeah, it's like 10 bucks for a 300 meter spool. Alright folks, soft plastic time, starting with the pedal tail at the jetty. Slow rolling a pedal tail right on the rock line. Start off doing that first. So it's not just side cast or overhead cast that this reel can do with the small stuff. You can do flick cast, underhand cast, whatever cast you want to call it. It handles it perfectly fine with really good accuracy as well. Okay, let's see. So guys, just take note of where I'm kind of jigging on this fishing jetty. These are the spots that over the years of cumulative fishing at Pandan, observing other anglers, learning from the old school legends of Pandan, you know, people teach me, you know, I learn from getting stuck. All of that combined, the spots that I jig, these are the safe spots. Okay, if you want to jig at this fishing jetty, just refer to this video, look at where I'm dropping my lures. Alright, these are the proven safe spots where the chances of you getting hung up on something is very low. Anywhere that I don't drop my lure, you can safely say that it's not too safe. Chances of getting stuck pretty high. Alright, the main concern that you're worried about is, you see that? These ropes? Yeah. They don't always go straight down, and that's the main thing. You see right here, this rope right here, it does go straight down, so there's virtually no risk of you getting stuck on it unless you're using a hard body with 2 trebles and a fish takes it around the rope or something. Otherwise you're pretty safe. Yeah, so key thing about jigging at the jetty is you want to the perimeter.
right? You want to get as close as possible, but just take note of where all the ropes are, right? You don't want to be jigging it near the ropes, but you want to get as close as possible to the side. Alright, so guys, when you jig at the jetty, you want to get as close as possible. Stand off to the side and jig like this. Alright, you don't want to be standing all up and then trying to jig this way, you know, it doesn't work. Alright, so stand off to the side. That allows you to get really close to the jetty. So you can do this with a soft plastic paddle tail, a soft plastic grub. You can do it with a small micro vibe, a silent vibe, a non-silent vibe. You can do it at... Oh, damn, I almost had to blip out words there. I got a bite, and I lifted it up way too fast. Oh gosh. Anyway, as I was saying, you can do this with anything, even a metal jig if you wanted to. The only concern with the jig is that unless you get the slow fall flutter jigs, a metal jig might sink too quickly. Alright folks, so this side of the jetty is where you want to avoid. It's even risky for someone who knows the jetty very well because the ropes go all over the place. You know, you're going to get hung up left, right, center. Even if you don't get hung up, if you hook into a fish, all that fish needs to do is dive underneath, turn left or right, and you're screwed. So you want to stay away from this side. It's all sorts of messy down there. This is the last section right here that I personally would work. Alright, so I'm going to rinse and repeat the same thing with my twin tail grub. And then if I have time, I'm going to rinse and repeat the same thing again with my micro brush hog. But I might not have time for that. So between the brush hog and the twin tail grub, I'm going to choose the twin tail grub for now.
Alright folks, that's it for today. Didn't catch anything, sorry about the no action video. But as I said at the start, the point of today's video wasn't exactly to catch fish. Catching fish is always a bonus, it's always nice to catch fish. The point of today's video was really to test out this setup right here. And, well, what can I say? It casts everything in my box, including the pins, you know. And that, I'm still genuinely surprised that anything outside of the few $100 BFS Reels can handle the pins, you know. In my entire history of doing ultralight bait casting and BFS, the pins minnow is one of the hardest to cast because, not because it's so light, but because the weight to size ratio of the lure is very great, which means it's a pretty long lure for the kind of weight, and it catches wind really easily. It doesn't fly straight, it tumbles as it flies. So it's a really tough lure to cast even for the more expensive BFS setups. So all in all, I am very impressed with what this reel can do. Once again, reel plus rod, this entire combo right here wouldn't cost you more than 150 Singapore dollars. In fact, it might cost you less than 150 Singapore dollars. And if this thing holds up the test of time, in terms of durability and stuff, well, this could very well be the cheapest combo you can get to get into the BFS genre. At least the cheapest that I have tested out. And we're talking about stock combo here. That means straight out of the box, no modifications, no nothing. The rod, the reel, yeah, you'll be able to cast everything in my box pretty much, which is between 2 grams to 5 grams. So yeah, I hope you guys found this useful for those of you looking to get into BFS. Stay tuned, I will update from time to time how this setup fares over time, durability testing and stuff like that. And hopefully I have discovered a cheaper option for those of you out there who want to get into BFS. So I'll have links to the reel and the rod in the description below. At the moment, The only place I know you can get this reel is Aliexpress. You can get the rod locally from the Kuying Distributor, Grand Tackle. Put a link to their carousel page in the description below. And I also put a whole list of all my lures, and in fact, you know what, I won't put a list in the description because that wouldn't serve any purpose. I'll probably roll the outro credits and just scroll the pictures of the lures, the names and the weights and all that, so that you guys can kind of refresh yourselves on what lures I was casting, you know, what lures this can handle and stuff like that. So if you guys like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, give me a thumbs down. Share my video with your friends if you learned something, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Tight lines, guys.